Welcome back to the channel. I'm Chase and this is All Things Random. Today we are looking at an alternative to the Tank Solo. Today we are looking at the Casio Tank. Now, before we really get into the video, until April 15th, ChaseStraps.com, my own personal watch strap company, Chase Straps, has 35% off everything on the website. That's to celebrate my birthday at the end of March. And having some milestones happen in my life, I figure I will give you guys an awesome discount on the best watch straps on the market. Today in this video, we are looking at the Casio Tank. Now, I'm not going to do a comparison in this video. I'm going to do a separate video in the future comparing the Cartier Tank Solo to the Casio Tank. Now, is it a true comparison? I mean, not really, because one is $2,500 on the used market and the other one is $49 brand new on Amazon, which is where I picked this up. That being said, on this YouTube channel, my goal is to bring you guys affordable alternatives to those high luxury timepieces. I am considered middle class, like probably most of you, on the lower end of middle class. So if I want a luxury timepiece, I need to save for years and years and years and really struggle if I want that timepiece. So it's always good to find alternatives to those timepieces. Doesn't matter if it's an alternative to a Rolex. It doesn't matter if it's an alternative to an H. Moser or an Omega. I want to give you guys a more affordable option while still having that tribute, that homage on your wrist of the original timepiece. Now, in this video, I'm just going to do a quick overview of the Casio. There's not really a whole lot to say, but I do have some things to say about it. So let's first start off with the dimensions, the case, and the dial. The dimensions of this watch are going to be 31 millimeters by 22 millimeters. This is extremely close to the Cartier Tank Solo. The only difference is if you look at the case on the Casio, it slopes down on the lugs. So the face of the watch seems smaller. However, the dimensions are almost identical. Now, this watch is slightly thicker than that Cartier at 7.8 millimeters. And the lug size on this is 14 millimeters. So it's nice that they have an even lug width. A lot of times, like the Cartier has an odd lug width of 17 millimeters, so it's extremely hard to find just a basic watch strap to replace the one that's on this. And this watch strap you'll want to replace eventually, and we'll get into that in just a minute. The case of this watch is a high polished stainless steel, and it does only have mineral glass covering that dial. Mineral glass offers some scratch resistance. It's not nearly as scratchable as something like acrylic, but it's not as strong as something like sapphire. I wouldn't expect sapphire on a watch at this price point, even though Pagani Design can offer sapphire on their Mega Quartz watches at $100. Casio, not so much. Now, the dial of this watch, I think, is where it truly is. It has a very lovely and beautiful silver sunburst dial with Roman numerals printed on the dial for the indices. Now, the Roman numerals are, of course, indicative of that classic Cartier look, because that's just something that, even though a watch of any watch company can do Roman numerals, when you have a square watch case with Roman numerals, it's immediately indicative and immediately recognizable as a Cartier. Now, at the price point of $50 on Amazon for this watch, or under $50, the printing on the dial is perfect, is absolutely perfect. When I got into the macro shots of this watch, I couldn't find any imperfections on the printing at all. I can't say the same about other micro brands that offer watches that are $400 or $500 and will find dust in the dial, or I will find issues with the printing. This Casio the printing is perfect on it, which really surprised me, especially when I got into the macro photography of the watch review. I was super happy and excited about that. Now, one of the things that I would say that I don't like about the watch is it has a ticking second hand. Now, this is just my own pet peeve because I'm not a big fan of quartz watches. I love the smooth sweep of an automatic or mechanical watch. But I'm sort of changing my mind when it comes to quartz movements. Like, I love the Grand Seiko GMT quartz, even though it does tick 1 tick a second. Well, I mean, if you really zoom in on the second hand, it's more to it than that, but it ticks. Now, but it is a Grand Seiko, and it is a $3,000 Grand Seiko that is a quartz movement. Now, that is something that I truly love, and I would love to have my hands on one, if not own one. So my thought process when it comes to quartz watches is slowly changing, but when it comes to the lower price points of quartz watches, it's just better to get rid of that second hand. Like the Cartier, it doesn't have a ticking second hand, and I think that something like this Casio, if you remove the second hand, it would look a lot better and a lot more expensive, in my opinion. The strap on this watch is a genuine leather strap, which means it's not the highest quality like a Chase strap. We use Italian calf leather on our high-end watch straps, but it's just a standard genuine leather. Now that basically means it's a lower quality. It's going to break down over time, but they did a decent job giving this watch the perspective or presentation of a much more expensive watch. It is padded. It does have an alligator print embossed on the leather strap. This strap is comfortable on the wrist, my fiance tells me. However, I think that that's the first thing that's going to end up breaking down. It's only going to take a couple months, so you're going to end up having to replace that anyway. Now, all that being said, for $50, I think that if you like that Cartier tank look and you don't have the money to buy a Cartier tank, the Casio is a really, really great option. Now, there are other watch companies like Citizen, Bulova, even Tissot that do square-style watches that are very similar to the Cartier. But if you want to start at the lower end and save yourself a lot of money, Casio is a very well-known watch brand. It has been around for a long time. Casio also makes the G-Shock watch brand, which has watches that are over $1,000. So there's at least some history behind the name, and you're not just buying something that nobody's ever heard of. I'm not saying Bulova doesn't have anything or Tissot doesn't have anything behind their name brand. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that if you're going to spend $50 on a watch, you might as well buy a Casio. Now, this does have a Japanese movement. I did everything I could to find out what kind of movement it is inside of it. It's probably just a Miyota quartz that you'd find in everything else. I didn't want to pop the back end of this because I'm going to end up giving this watch to my fiance's daughter. So really, I didn't want to have the possibility of creating some sort of water intrusion later because I didn't seal it correctly. Now, this watch only has 30 meters of water resistance, which is what you'd expect on any type of watch. However, when it comes to quartz watches and cheaper quartz watches, if you end up jumping into a pool, you're not really going to ruin the watch. And if you do, well, it's only $49 to replace, as opposed to a few $100s or a few $1,000, and then it's going to cost several $100s to repair the damage to thousands and thousands of dollars worth of watch. Anyway, all that being said, I'm going to do another video comparing these, the Cartier and the Casio, in a future video. It's not going to be the next video. It's going to be maybe next week or the week after. I have a lot on the desk of things that I want to review. I've already done the comparison of these two watches. I've already filmed the comparison of it, but I have a lot of other things that I want to release to you guys first, to include that academic watch from JF Watches. Gary from I Like Watches and I Like Watches Too, and James, the designer of the Academic and the Exciton that I will give away once this channel hits 10,000 subscribers. The Exciton watch, I'm going to do a giveaway. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful watch. One of my favorite watches. Really sad to see it go, but I would rather give it to one of my subscribers. But I have that watch right here that I'm actually filming today and tomorrow, doing photography on it. I'll be releasing things on Instagram. I never push Instagram. My Instagram is at all_things_random_AK. I'm going to leave a link down below. If you guys want to see what I'm doing, go over to Instagram, follow me on Instagram, and then I post pictures of the things that upcoming reviews, giveaways that I'm doing, discounts to Chase straps, all that is over there. So if you want to follow me, go ahead and follow me over there. That would be great. Now, the 3 things I always ask of you guys, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, leave a comment of the content you guys want to see on this channel. This is all things random, mostly watch stuff with some random stuff sprinkled in between, like this blue Yeti Nano. I did a quick review hooking it up to a cell phone because I'm poor and I use my cell phone to record these videos, but I wanted wanted a better microphone. So all things random, mostly watch stuff with some random stuff sprinkled in between that I think is going to help you guys. Also, make sure you guys are hitting that notification bell so you can be notified when I drop all of these videos. Until next time.